So you can't think your way out of your emotional eating, and you need to dive deeper in order to resolve this pattern. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating. And I wanted to touch on this because a lot of the times when I'm working with women with emotional eating, they are very intelligent women. They are very ambitious. They've done a lot of things in their lives, and they're really smart. And this can prevent you from resolving your emotional eating. When you know a lot of things, you think you should not have this issue. But emotional eating is not just about knowing things, it's about actually embodying a process to resolve it. It's about going through an experience to resolve this. So it doesn't matter how many books you read, how many podcasts you listen to, how many things you learn about nutrition or your body. If you don't know how to embody these steps or actually practice them to see the difference, you're not going to get the results you want. And this is really common for emotional eaters, and this was really common for me too. I was very much in my mind, and the reason we're so much in our mind and so intellectual and intellectualizing a lot of things is because we are disconnected from our body. We needed to use our mind to survive, and so it wasn't safe to be in our body. That's where painful emotions live. That's where the discomfort lives. That's where we feel something. And if we didn't have the right modeling and we're able to move through that, it's very scary to be in our body. So we try to figure things out as much as possible, and it can be scary to drop into the body. We don't even know how, because this hasn't been our life for most of our lives. From a very young age, we've been disconnected. And so this is something that I see coming up, and we can read all the things and understand all the things on a mental level, but until we actually practice and embody it, we won't really feel a shift. And we need to be able to do this. We need to understand that we need to drop into our body, that this is an embodied process. So just check in with yourself. Have you read all the books? Do you know all the nutrition? Do you know why you emotionally eat? Have you gone to therapy? Have you been talking about this and there's been no resolution? So I was the same way. I was, I was trying to do the right things. Like, oh, I should exercise. Oh, I should eat this. Oh, I should do that. But I didn't have a felt sense of if this was right or wrong for me. I did lots of exercises in talk therapy. I tried to rewrite my thoughts, but all of this was very mental. It wasn't in my body. I wasn't tapping into the process in my body, the emotions, the things actually anchored in and holding me back from resolving this pattern. And so emotional eating is a coping mechanism, and this coping mechanism is automatic. It's subconscious. It lives in the body. So when something becomes subconscious for us, if we think about our mind as 100%, 5% is our willpower and conscious mind, and 95% is our subconscious. And our subconscious really is in our body. Our body is taking over this pattern. When we're triggered, it's automatic, and it's 95%, and it has 95% power. So we're not going to stop it with our mind. We can't think our way out of emotional eating. We have to drop into the body, and we have to build up certain resources and connections with our body to start breaking apart this pattern. And so sometimes you're able to do that. So what I see with clients is that we're working on multiple levels. Sometimes you can add in a habit and it works for you and it feels good and it becomes something that you continuously do. But when you try to add in something and you can't add it in, no matter how much you know it's good for you, you know you should do it, and you hit up against that wall of resistance or that blockage, that means there's something more subconsciously. There's a blockage. There's something going against what you're trying to do. And so we have to work in the body to find that, because now it's imprinted in the body. The body is now the machine doing that. It's just like when you learn to drive a car. At first, you're really looking, you have to be really diligent and really hyper aware. And after you get from point A to point B, you don't even know how you got there. And that's what's happening with your emotional eating. So in that moment when you're driving, you're sort of taken over. You can't stop the driving unless you become aware of it and you're trying to change a pattern. But even then, if you have a certain driving style, it'll take time. And you have to go deeper and sort of learn this. Of course, most of us don't have resistance to driving. So there's not a lot around there unless you have fear. So with your emotional eating pattern, when it takes over in that moment, you might recognize it, but you can't pull yourself out of it. It's like if you're driving, you can't just pull off the side of the, off the freeway or something like that. You have to keep going down the path. You have to keep going. And so with your emotional eating in that moment, no matter how much you're aware or you want to leave that pathway, you can't. So you can't just drive off that road. You have to start from before or after you look at, maybe I'll map out a different route. How do I do this? And so for emotional eating, this has to start with the body. We have to get the body on board. We have to start connecting back to our body. We have to start feeling good in our body. And when we start feeling good and we're open to that, we don't need any sort of discipline of ourselves. We don't need to force or punish ourselves. It feels good, so we naturally want to do it, and we're learning that this actually feels good, which is our body telling us this is the right way for us. This is the way we want to go in. It doesn't mean there's no effort or commitment, but it feels good. It's not like there's effort and commitment and it feels crappy and you're waiting to get to this magical place. No, it feels good. There's good effort. When you do something and you put effort in and it feels like you accomplished something, it feels like that. And so when I'm working with clients, we're looking at how to get them an embodied experience, a transformation in their body, in the way they feel. You can't do that with your mind. You have to do that with your body and feeling that experience and letting yourself know it's safe to feel that. And so how we do that when I'm working with clients is we're moving through 3 layers. Our connection to food, our body, and our emotions. And this is a tangible connection. It's not that you're learning, this is the right food, this is the wrong food. No, how does the food feel in your body? When do you feel satisfied? There are guidelines, of course, and in this first part, when you're connecting back to food, which I call true nourishment, you're learning how hunger feels in your body. You're learning how emotional hunger feels. You're starting to see where your triggers are coming up. You're starting to see how food nourishes you, how satisfied you feel, how you can satisfy your hunger, and really starting to get connected back to food, the taste, the quality. Your body is going to start speaking to you and telling you these foods feel good to you. The second layer is really about body acceptance. We shame our body a lot. We think it should look a certain way, and that's tied into a deeper trauma. That's something deeper in the body that we think we should be a certain way. And if we try to change that just in our mind, we're not going to get very far, because when we have trauma that lives in the body, we have to get to the body level to shift and to resolve that and to start learning to accept our body. And then connecting back to our body. What does our body need in terms of rituals, rhythms, sleep? All of this is going to be really important. Maybe our body changes throughout the month. We need to honor that versus us putting how we should be. And that is an embodied process where you start trusting your body more and more and seeing that nothing quote unquote bad is going to happen. You're feeling good and connected, and you feel that in your body. You have evidence. And you have embodied evidence of this. And the third layer is all around your emotions. So emotions start off as biochemicals, and they create sensations in our body. So emotions are sensory. They're an experience in our body. And when we're emotional eaters, we dissociate from our body. We don't want to feel those. But that is where we need to start becoming embodied to process and integrate these emotions at a body level, a somatic level, getting to the root of these issues, resolving it, and then meeting our true needs, meeting our true emotional needs, meeting other needs, maybe boundaries. From this place, we can start tapping into what we actually need. We don't have to think about it and see if we fit into a box. Our body will start telling us when we start meeting our needs, when we start giving ourselves what we actually need in terms of nourishment, acceptance, and honoring our emotions. We're going to really hear ourselves. And this is an embodied experience of moving through your emotional eating. You can know about your triggers. You can know when you're triggered in the day. You can know all of these things. You can know how the mechanism forms. You can know your needs weren't met. Knowing this is a great starting point. Awareness is really great, and therapy is really great for getting you to awareness. But then what's next? How do you get into the body? How do you actually resolve this so you're not perpetually living in this pattern? Because we can shift these patterns. It was created and we can repattern it. We can recreate something else that actually meets our true needs. And this is not about shifting one pattern to a next. It's about meeting your true needs. When you receive what you truly need, nothing else can replace that. You won't go to something else. You won't go to food. It will not meet that need. It won't feel the same. And that's how you know you are starting to resolve this pattern. And I see this shift with clients as we work together in the Emotional Eating Evolution program. It's like they come in as one person and they're out as the other. Their perspectives, who they are, who they're being shifts. And that's what we want. We want an embodied process. Otherwise, we can collect all the information and the data and all of that, and we still won't feel any relief. So if you are curious on how to get started on this embodied experience of resolving your emotional eating, the first step I always guide clients to, or potential clients, is to download my free guide called What Are You Truly Hungry For? This guide is really the first step to understanding this pattern, and it's the first lesson I give to my paid clients. It's about learning to discern true from emotional hunger, how that feels like in your body, and then to start catching your triggers. When you're able to discern true from emotional hunger, you can start catching your triggers, start understanding your hunger. So if you want that free guide, I'll put the link below. And if you are ready to resolve your emotional eating, you want that support, that guidance, that step-by-step process, and the deeper tools to start sustainably resolving this problem, to start feeling that ease and peace and confidence in your body and around food, then I'd love to invite you to find out more about the Emotional Eating Evolution program. It's my 12-week container full of support, guidance, the in-depth tools, and the coaching that you need to really move through this, to move through the resistance so that you can get to that ease and peace that you're desiring. So you can find out more at the link below. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you had any ahas, let me know as well. I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.